We have arrived at the final big card of the year for One Championship. One Friday Fights 46 coming up this Friday, September 22nd. And it is, I think, the best striking card that we have received this year. So going out with a bang. I am excited for this fight, for this fight night, this Friday Fights card. Either or works. And yeah, let's get into it. Before we talk about the fights, as this will probably be the final video I make this year on One Championship on this channel. If this is your first time checking out one of my Fight Night previews, or you're a returning viewer, anything like that, thank you so much. This is the first year that I've really kind of dedicated this channel to One Championship mostly, so massively appreciate the support on that. Please do drop this video a like, subscribe and stuff like that. I create content for a bunch of other places, so the more that this channel does well, the more time I will dedicate to it, and the more videos and things like that. So massively appreciated. Let's get into these fights. Starting earlier on in the card and moving our way up, I think that there's a few fights on here that could headline a Friday Fights card, and even then I'd be excited because they're that good, right? You've got lower down on the card the likes of Chorfa and Sewer Black, who are just tons of fun to watch. They've put together some great wins as of late on the Friday Fight series. Talk about fights that could headline a Friday Fights card and generate a lot of interest. Pet Sukhumvit taking on Black Panther is an absolute banger. They, again, have had some great wins this year on the Friday Fights cards, and that is the level we are talking about. I think those three fights alone, with those names, and you'd be excited. That's a big Friday Fights card, but this is just where we are getting started with this card. That is the kind of level we are talking about this time around with One Friday Fights 46. You've also got a fantastic veteran versus standout prospect like style matchup with an absolute staple of one striking roster, Kulabdam, taking on 23-year-old Faria Aminoir. Might have got that wrong. It happens a lot. He's picked up 4 wins on Friday Fights this year, so really exciting prospect at 23 years old, and taking out a guy like Kulab Dalam, who's been there, done it against some of the best guys in the roster and in the world. That'll be a huge test for him, but very exciting. And you could say the same for the next matchup, where you've got Elbow Zombie Muang Thai, again another veteran of One Championship at this point, and a real staple of the roster, taking on the 19-year-old Nabil Anan, who finds himself in another really big fight. People will remember he made his one debut against Supalek, so clearly one think very highly of him. This kind of experience, I know he's gone 1-1 so far in One Championship, but this kind of experience against the top guys is only going to make him better. You know, you'll see it in a few years to come. I think that fighting guys of this quality from such a young age is going to make him so much better as he gets older. Even if that debut was particularly unforgiving at the hands of Supalek, the kicking machine. So I'm excited for this one as well. Again, put this headline of a Friday Fights card and I'd be like, ooh, that's a good one. And as I said, we're only scratching the surface, because when you get to the main card portion of One Friday Fights 46 is where we really kick into the best striking card of the year. One of my favourite fighters to watch this year, without a shadow of a doubt, the man who yields to no one, Seksan, back on this card. He's produced 7 wins this year on Friday Fights. That is absolutely insane. I think he is definitely a contender for Fighter of the Year in One Championship. I would say definitely Fighter of the Year from the Friday Fights series. He, of course, did make a main roster debut recently, but back here on Friday Fights, taking on River Daz, who I don't know a ton about, but I'm going to tune in to watch Seksan every single time. And if he makes it 8 wins in a row this year in Friday Fights and the One Fight Night debut, that is absolutely insane. I can't wait to see what 2024 holds for him. And yeah, I'm happy to watch him compete every single time. Hell of a way to kick off the card. You have also got one of the best striking matchups of the year, I think, with Nongo Hama, the former Bantamweight Muay Thai World Champion, returning after losing his title to Jonathan Haggerty earlier this year in April. So first fight back for him, and he is taking on Nico Carrillo, who a lot of people have high hopes for. The King of the North. I think 2 fights in One Championship, right? He's had 2 back-to-back wins. and has been built for some big fights. And it really doesn't get much bigger than taking on Nongo, who no one predicted Haggerty stopping him in the first round to dethrone him. He was such a dominant champion in that bantamweight division, and it really felt like he was only picking up more steam with every fight. So excited to see how Nongo looks bouncing back from that loss. Whether Nico Carrillo can take certain lessons from that loss to Haggerty, put the pressure on him early, things like that. It would be very, very interesting to see. I think the winner of this fight pretty much secures themselves a title shot at that bantamweight Muay Thai title, whether it belongs to Haggerty or whether Haggerty defends it soon, and then whoever wins this fight in 2024 is getting a title shot, I think, because the narratives for both men in matchups with Haggerty sells itself. So really, really excited for that one. And then you've got 3 World Championship contests at the top of this card, and all 3 of them are fantastic, in my opinion. The first one is one of my favourite striking matchups of the year. You have got another one of the real standout contenders across Friday fights this year. The Queen, Fetjija, coming back. She's had 4 fights on Friday fights, finished all 4 opponents. Now gets I was going to say a main roster debut. I think it counts as a main roster debut if you're fighting for a title, personally. The interim atomweight kickboxing world championship on the line on this one, as she takes on the returning Anissa Meksen, a world-renowned striker, long recognised as one of the greatest female strikers on the planet. And I'm just so happy to see her back in one championship. It's been a while. She, of course, earlier this year had a bit of it was very confusing. She was supposed to fight Stamp in a mixed rules fight, and then didn't show up to the press conference and was pulled from the fight. And I honestly didn't know if we were ever going to see Meksen fight in one championship ever again. But I'm so happy to see her back, because her quality and pedigree speaks for itself. And then so to put her up against the female striker who I think has had the most impact this year in Fetjija, absolute dynamite, this title fight. And then the winner goes on to face the champion Janet Todd at some point in 2024. But to be honest, I think this is a better matchup than that one. Honestly, I think this might be the best female striking matchup of the year, I think. And like I said, one of the best overall, in my opinion. Co-main event, you've got Joseph Laziri finally defending his one strawweight Muay Thai World Championship in a rematch against Prajanchai. Laziri shocked the world last year by taking the title off of Prajanchai. Like I said, yet to defend it. Prajanchai, in the meantime, been on the warpath. I think it's 3 wins in a row that he's produced, including face-planting Sam A to win the interim title. That was a crazy performance. And yeah, he wants to settle the score with Joseph Laziri bad. So he's finally got his opportunity. Laziri has tons to prove, but, beating Prajanchai for a second time, there's no doubts that he's deserving of that title if he's able to pull that off. But like I said, man, Prajanchai has been scary since that fight. So I'm really, really excited for this rematch. Glad it's finally happening. And huge stakes for both men, because I don't know where either of them go from here with a loss. It would be tough. Very, very interesting. And then main event. Trying to think. Sorry for the pause. Trying to think where I rank this amongst the best striking matchups of the year. I wouldn't put it over Rodtang and Superlek for obvious reasons. Would I put it over Superbon and Alazov? Ooh, that's tough. That's really tough. It's a top 3 though, right? You have got the one featherweight Muay Thai world champion, Tawanchai, taking on the former kickboxing world champion at featherweight, the former pound for pound number 1, Superbon. Of course, to talk about the challenger for a minute, it's been a while since we've seen Superbon compete in Muay Thai, and I think that makes this really interesting, because I don't know how well he's going to adapt jumping right in at the deep end. Of course, he lost his title to Chingiz Alazov at the start of the year, and now he's looking to end the year by claiming another world title in a different sport. I would tune in to watch Superbon fight a plastic bag. That's how much I love watching him. But then you put him in there with a 24-year-old prodigy like Tawanchai, who has had again, a little bit of a return to Muay Thai for him as well, because he's had, I believe his last 2 fights have been in kickboxing now, where he fought David Kiria and Joe Natawut, looking to make an impact there as you know, potentially looking to become a 2-sport world champion next year. But 2-sport world champion plans have got to go out the window when you face a challenge like Superbon. By far the biggest threat to his title run to date. However, Tawanchai has looked phenomenal in Muay Thai as of late, so like I said, this really is jumping in at the deep end for Superbon, even though he brings incredible pedigree and accolades with him. This is tough. This is a really tough one to call, I think. I think a lot of people might slightly lean towards Tawanchai just because of the experience in this rule set, the run as of late, but if there's anybody that is going to cause him problems, I think it might be Superbon. So, an incredible main event, an incredible way to end the year in one championship, and I cannot wait for this card. Leave a comment down below which fight you're most excited for, and give me your predictions for those 3 title fights, because they are all absolutely fantastic. I think I would slightly lean, again, that main event is really I'm gonna flip-flop on that all the way up to fight night, but slightly leaning towards Tawanchai right now. But like, not even 55-45. That's how close I think that one is. I'll go for Prajanchai in the rematch just because of the, you know, the recent form. I think you have to lean towards him, and that kickboxing. If it was Muay Thai, I think I'd lean towards Fetjuja, but I think I might go Nisa Mexen to pick up that interim title and then unify the belts with Janet Todd later on. Well, not later on, early on, hopefully in 2024. But like I said, leave your predictions in the comments below. Thank you for checking out this Friday Fights preview. I hope you're as excited for the final event of the year as I am. Card is crazy stacked, and definitely tune in to some of those earlier fights as well, because some of those guys are absolutely incredible to watch. And if you don't watch Sexan, then what are you doing? You know, what else have you got that's better than doing that? So tune in, enjoy the fights, and I will see you most likely in the new year. Thanks again.